I like to look into new games' core design decision and take a deep dive of guessing why designer did this or that. So today, I've decided to look into Design Power 7 and how Altered approaching them. Perhaps it may be one explanation why I am enjoying this game so much. Let's get started. Let's start looking at what has happened since the last video in Altered World. Altered TCG is now fully funded, with official title of the most funded TCG in Kickstarter history. The numbers are quite impressive. As for reference, the second most funded TCG, Sorcery, raised about 3.58 million US dollars. Altered did not use Kickstarter for retailer, so the real number of how much Altered has made so far is unknown, but it is safe to assume they have topped Sorcery by at least twice from amount of money they have raised during the Kickstarter campaign period. The number of backers are also quite impressive here. Since my last video, the final backer number skyrocketed and reached essentially 15,000 backers, while Sorcery had little under 6,500 backers. Now, the Kickstarter numbers do not guarantee the future of the game, but these numbers certainly reflect the strong initial momentum this game has. During the first week of March, there was Gamma Expo 2024, which is supposedly a major event for game creators and industry experts. In this event, Equinox shared their organized play plan. There will be 3 types of organized play planned: weekly local game shop event, expeditions, 2 to 3 days Altered convention for all Altered fans, Confluence, the premier competitive event, deciding the world champion, Musubi. For casual physical players and local game shop owners, we're going to have weekly event called Expeditions. This is a flexible weekly event organized by participating local game shop with rewards. The free rewards kit for this event provided by Equinox consists promo booster packs. These packs will contain high-quality foiler card, alternative art token, and 2024 promo cards. Since promo cards are not included in a retail booster pack and only found 1 in 72 Kickstarter booster pack, or available to only those attended a roadshow in the past, I would assume they have pretty decent value. It looks like Expeditions is planned to start as soon as official game release. Altered will have participation-based reward system for this event called Adventure Pass. The more you participate, the better the rewards gets. This is an interesting way of motivating players to attend local game shop event analogous to daily bonus login system in digital games. The rewards include alternative art cards, so they won't necessarily affect gameplay, but seem to have collector value. With the Altered's digital world trade market capability, this seems to be a great card to trade for those who are not into collecting, and get some money back by attending local game shop events. It will be very interesting how well this system works to motivate players to go to local game shop and play Altered. Confluence is Altered TCG convention where not just high-level organized play event takes place, but it's for all Altered fans. In 2025, there will be 2 Confluence after each expansion is planned, one in US and the other in Europe. One interesting text here is mentioned about faction leaderboard and champion. This sounds like to help keep people choosing their true favorite faction and do not penalize those who want to play competitively yet wanting to stay loyal to their faction. The World First Championship is planned for September 2025, which is 1-year anniversary for the game. Beyond this point, on recent official Ask Me Anything video series, there was mention of Pro Tour type circuit system in Altered if all these competitive events are successful and see enough player demand. About 2 years ago, Team Covenant Podcast had a very interesting series called The Power 7. In this series, they have talked about 7 card game mechanics that the developers must be very careful with. It was one of my favorite podcast series. Inspired from that series, I have decided to evaluate Altered game design, how they designed this game to address each of the Power 7. In fact, I added 8th one on my own. Did they skip it? Did they come up with some solution? The Power 7 are followings: Limit 1, Recursion, Denial, Memory, Silver Bullet, Resource Card, Free, and I added Stack. Limit 1 refers to a deck building rule where you can only put one copy of a specific card. Designers may use Limit 1 to control power level of those cards. Using the lack of consistency as design parameter, these cards can have higher power level than the other cards in the game. Personally, I am indifferent about Limit 1 mechanics. However, this mechanics illustrates the legendary game designer Mark Rosewater variance concept. More variance means more luck, but that can create more fun, swingy, epic moment in a game. This is something casual players tend to enjoy, while pro players who look for consistency might feel differently. The challenge for designer here seems to ensure its power level not going to extreme. If the power level becomes extreme to the point, whoever plays Limit 1 card first win the game, it simply becomes who gets to draw the card first game. One of the main sales points of Altered TCG is unique card mechanics. Unique is the highest rarity in Altered. These cards are created using computer algorithm. So every unique rarity cards are truly one of the kind, and no one, even yourself, owns another exact same copy of the card. So by definition, unique cards use Limit 1. There are only a couple publicly available examples of unique cards that I could find so far. Jandark looks evolved version of the rare counterpart. With one more cost, it gains 2 more stats across the board, and conditional permanent discard ability. While the Tokosker looks like entirely a different card without any of original card identity. Neither of these look to be win-lose bomb. Not surprisingly, developers are putting a significant amount of effort building this algorithm. It's grateful to hear not that they only put a ceiling, but also floor on these. While I am indifferent about Limit 1 card mechanics, Altered way of Limit 1 could potentially even satisfy pro players. This is because the deck building rule allows us to put 3 unique cards. So while they may not be the exact same copy, if someone looking for the higher consistency, it is possible to put 3 uniques of the same character that may share the same core mechanics or gameplay. So I'll say here, Altered looks to have promising solution. Recursion mechanics refers to bringing back the card that has already been played. In many TCGs, this mechanics may form a part of core deck strategy. In some games that have undead type creatures, recursing feels thematically perfect way to represent them. So what's the downside of recursion? It's the potential risk of fatigue playstyle. While there may be no consistent definition, I personally view fatigue playstyle as the extreme form of attrition plan. In this playstyle, the player slows down the game to extreme of essentially decking out the opponent. Recursion mechanics can help fatigue playstyle player by keeping their deck always available to draw some cards. So what's the issue with this fatigue playstyle? Most of us play a game to have fun, action-packed time. However, when one player is using fatigue playstyle, the game can last 2 to 3 times longer than normal game duration, with not much of board state change. With such games, many players and spectators find these games boring. So this is not game's balance issue, but it can affect overall gameplay environment. If players continue to see such playstyle all the time, they may just lose the interest in the whole game. As I have said, recursion is a must-have mechanics in TCG as it is a great design space of its own. Authors have us covered here at fundamental game design level by reserve game mechanics. Unlike many other TCGs, Altered decided to give essentially recursion to all cards unless there are exceptions. The reserve mechanics means once you play a card from the hand, those card goes to reserve zone rather than discard pile. Then we can play reserve cards by paying their reserve cost. This offers really interesting choice to players, such as using the same card twice in a turn, use reserve card as bait, bluff, or setup for subsequent turns. How they prevent fatigue playstyle though? The core game rule solution is the fact Altered do not have deck out. In Altered, when we run out of cards to draw, we reshuffle discard pile back into deck without any penalty. With this rule, there's no decking out at all. Not only that, if a player executes attrition plan without eventually carrying active winning plan, the opponent get back onto executing their game plan second time. So if fatigue-like playstyle ever becomes available in the Altered, I think they would feel and look completely different from traditional fatigue. If it was some type of martial arts or boxing match, traditional fatigue is watching the match where one fighter just keep guarding and eventually the other get completely burned out and drops to the ground. This would be a terrible match, so they have a rule to penalize fighters do not involve in active fighting. Hence, such match never happens. In Altered, there is no stamina to run out, so we'd be watching one fighter keep guarding while the other fighter continue to rushing and try to eventually find a way to break the guard. Since we know the guarding fighter can never win by just guarding, so we expect they are waiting for some moment of their action. I can see this will be an exciting match to watch. From what I have seen so far, I would say Altered looks to have implemented one of the best recursion mechanics in TCG. In the games that supports denial, a player can look at other players' action and then react to it by denying what they are about to do. This mechanics provides a pragmatic, retroactive counterplay interaction. Cards with these mechanics form core of control archetype decks. While in other games I have been playing aggro decks, I still enjoyed seeing control archetypes as an opposite spectrum of playstyle variance. The main potential drawback is the no-play feeling to those facing against decks that use denials as the primary strategy. We all play TCG for fun with the intent to play our own preferred game style by chosen deck. When denial mechanics just denies whatever you throw at, you don't feel like playing any game. When I was playing Magic against paradigmatic control deck, it was obvious my opponent have denial cards in their hand, but I had no way to play around it. I play a card, gets denied, my card does not get resolved. So in the end, I just felt like throwing cards, but did not feel like really played any game. Altered fundamental game design, simultaneous turn system challenges this. In Altered, every time anyone plays a card, the card always resolves, while the character I have just played may be immediately removed by the card like, off you go, and essentially provide the same effect as denial. I feel a bit different as a player who get denied, because my card got on the board at least for the moment, and if there was summoning effect that still ended up triggering. However, the main solution Altered provides for the no-play feel is that this game's turn system. A player can only pass once. If a player passes, they forfeit any action for the entire remaining round. So as a basic way to play around those waiting to deny our action, we can play cheap drops and pass priority to the opponent. They must play something if they want to preserve their counter card, but this will consume their mana, Once we see they no longer have enough mana to cast their denial card, I can then safely plan our plan so it's not a single-sided game anymore. I would say Altered solved denial mechanics challenge in an excellent way. Memory refers to data tracking while playing a game. The classic example is counters on a card to modify their stat beyond what is written. They are essential component of TCG, so cards are not just what's on the text. When the memory tax becomes too high, there will be a point when tracking data deters from gameplay immersion, so the proper balance would be important. Altered supports traditional stat boost counters as well as named counters for more special thematic play. The main memory tax in this game comes from the main game rule of comparing total region type value between players. The values we compare changes based on the region where the corresponding region markers are on. To reduce the memory tax associated with this, Altered remits character card permanence. By default, characters leave expedition zones and reset counters at the end of each round, with a few special effect-based exceptions. Though this helps to keep each calculation to remain most basic elementary math, some may still feel a bit of too much of memory taxing due to frequency when played physically. Here, the solution is fun-driven. Altered have successfully attracted programming skill-possessing fans. With it, we already have at least couple counter apps. These are essentially the life counter app in other games. With these apps, I do not have any concern of memory tax in Altered. I hope official app will include one of these, and perhaps someday Equinox would also consider releasing a physical counter tool for those who prefer not using apps. Silver Bullet refers to the method of answering meta-dominating deck or card by a single card. At first glance, this seems better than card ban or restriction. However, using Silver Bullet solution to balance the meta could reduce deck building variance. This is because if including Silver Bullet becomes mandatory to play in a meta environment, you have essentially lost that many card slots in a deck. The worst case scenario may result in a game environment where win or lose depends on if you can draw Silver Bullet before opponents drawing their meta-defining card. Silver Bullet concept matters only if there is extremely overpowered card in the meta, so whether Altered will use this as their means to counter such situation or not is uncertain at the moment. However, there looks to be several fail-proof systems in Altered to reduce the chance of creating such extreme overpowered card in the first place. These include the use of card pool isolation and digital asset original. Altered use card pool isolation system which help designer to create intentional playstyle variance in each card pools by creating coherent, distinctive theme within each factions. In addition, this system allows designers to regulate card interactions tightly. In fact, on one of Ask Me Anything Designer video, designers have stated they have decided not to use factionless or multi-faction cards. This further reduces the chance of unexpected generative unintentional synergy creation within the game. Even if so-called degenerate card were to be introduced, errata in Altered may be easier than ever. With the digital asset original system, when player is attending organized play, it can ensure any cards with errata to be flagged so players is aware the card has some errata. If players want the official card with corrected errata, there is a print-on-demand service. The developers have assured that they won't intend to use these as primary means to fix balance breaking cards, but we know the option is there for Altered. The paradigmatic TCG, Magic the Gathering, uses specific card types for the game's resource. This dedicated resource card system has many benefits, and one of the reasons why Magic the Gathering plays how it plays. The main benefits of this system includes offering players the resource management, strategy, and tactics within the game, creates individual game variance, and allowing the resource to become own game design space. However, this system comes with one infamous side effect of mana screw, where hand is stuck with all resource cards or you have no resource cards to play any other card. Some of these situations may be due to players' deck building, but even well-crafted, top players' deck may suffer from the mana screw due to pure luck. During this period, the player cannot do anything. So any TCG introduced to market nowadays have to have some type of solution to this issue when building their resource system. One of the most common solutions used to answer mana screw is sacrifice resource system, which is what Alter uses. In this system, any card can be used as a resource. In addition, Altered allows players to draw 2 cards rather than 1 at the beginning of each turn. Together, player will not feel the mana screw in this game. In my opinion, one main drawback of a pure sacrifice system when compared to a dedicated resource card system is no design space to explore. It's the personal preference, but I prefer dedicated card resource system as there are so many things we can see with it. However, this does not mean we don't have any future design expansion in this area with Altered. In fact, I would guess otherwise. During the one of Ask Me Anything Designer interview video, there was a specific question if there is any plan for future mana card. While they did not confirm or deny anything about future design potential, there was a specific mention about World of Warcraft TCG, which uses sacrifice resource system with added resource-specific card mechanisms, and recognized interesting potential exists there. The second hint is official website card search filter containing mana type. One may look at this card and connect to mana convergence token revealed during the draft mode is ready Kickstarter update. The sole purpose of this token is a space filler for those who did not get enough cards to build their draft deck. Perhaps it is my hopeful thinking, but I would challenge to those if this is the only reason. Did they really needed to create card type for just this single token? Even so, why not say token mana, similar to token character? Lastly, this may be a stretch, but I have hard time thinking developer created such wide mana zone space to hold simple accumulating mana. They could have just have a mana card pile and use dice counter to count mana if that was the only intention for. So I honestly think it's just a matter of time that we will see mana cards in Altered. Once we see them, I would say Altered has one of the best resource systems that have full flexibility and design space potential for card-based resource system without its drawback of mana screw. Until then, at least Altered avoided mana screw by standard sacrifice resource system use. Free means more than just zero-cost card. It means literally playing or using ability without playing any in-game cost. This means the player can keep using it over and over, and as such, it becomes the source of infinite combo. Even if you play a card for zero cost, if the card goes to discard pile, you have paid the cost by playing the card itself. I don't think most card games intentionally create a single card that is truly free, but through unintentional synergies, something may become free. If this were to happen in Altered by accident, the game's round system should act as fail guard. Since the end outcome of each round in this game is region marker movement, even if there were infinite combo during a round, the best it can do is to move a region marker by one space. So it would be contained within the round rather than affecting entire match. The last one is my personal addition. Stack is a fundamental game mechanics to allow players to interact each other before the resolution of each card or effect. This allows gameplay such as I would deny the card you just declared playing, but then opponent may say I will deny your denial. This has been core game system to allow retrospective interactive gameplay in TCGs like Magic the Gathering, Flesh and Blood, with a card type called Instant, which are the cards that can be used anytime, exist. The main drawback of the stack system is added complexity to the game rule. In fact, it's not just a little bit of complexity that once you know how stack works, you can handle it in any game, but rather it is game specific and may even have to update understanding when new mechanics are introduced. This is because fundamentally instant type cards are not played anytime. It feels nearly anytime, but still have specific rules when you can play them. So knowing this exact timing becomes very tricky. In fact, at the competitive play level, knowing the proper timing could potentially cost a game outcome. This is what I refer to as play with the role in a game. Another drawback of a game that uses a stack system is ensuring priority switching timing. Amongst pro players, this process may carry out smoothly. But as a casual player who wants to play properly, this may feel a bit choppy or awkward by keep saying pass or keep asking the other player, are you okay if I proceed? Altered fundamental game design simultaneous turn system elegantly solved this. In this game, we know playing a card is a trigger of passing priority. If player chooses to pass without playing a card, that round becomes all yours and no more priority passing. This is one of the main reasons the game flows so smoothly in Altered. It's very important to note that this is achieved without paying the cost of losing retroactive interaction play feel. Since my first discovery of Altered about a month ago, I've been playing this game almost daily on Board Game Arena. Every time I play, the game just feels fun and wanting to play just one more. I believe this single, perhaps most important outcome of playing TCG, the fun playing, feel is supported by many pieces of the game design interacting together. If you find this type of video interesting, please hit subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you for watching.